Tokyo 2011. Nous avons rendez-vous au 8e étage du bâtiment central de l'université de Waseda. Nous sommes attendus par l'unique kancho occidental d'une école martiale japonaise et le plus jeune 7e dan au monde. Rencontre avec Glenn Stockwell, le samouraï australien.
My name is Glenn Stockwell. I'm a professor in applied linguistics in the School of Law at Waseda University. I've been at Waseda University since April in 2005. I was in Kyoto at Seishinkan University for 2 years before that, and before that I was in Griffith University in Australia for about 7 years, where I taught Japanese subjects. When did I start EI? It's been a long time. I first started EI back, my first contact with it was back in 1984. I came to Japan then in 1991, which is where I met my teacher, Yasuyoshi Kimura, 9th dan in Musou Jikiden Shinryu iaido. And then when I saw him demonstrate his waza for the first time, I fell in love with the style. But when I saw this particular style of Musou Jikiden Shinryu, it was flowing, it was powerful, it was graceful, and yet it was quite deadly, the techniques that he was demonstrating. And I thought, I'm doing this. I decided that was the point that I thought, I'm doing under this teacher, no matter what. So I joined up in the dojo immediately, and I trained under him for the rest of the time that I was in Japan. The style specifically, EI itself is around 470 years old. The actual beginnings of Musou Jikiden Shinryu, there's some debate about the actual age of it. There's different arguments about how old it actually is. A lot of theories put it at around 300 years or more. Its founder was a person by the name of Hasegawa Eishin. So the name Eishinryu came from his name.
6 fois vainqueur du championnat de la All Japan Iaido Federation et 4 fois médaille d'argent, Glenn Stockwell et sa pratique martiale ont marqué cette dernière décennie au Japon. Il n'a que 35 ans lorsque la fédération lui délivre son 7e dan.
So I went and I started to try to open up a dojo. In 1993 is when I started up the dojo, and at that time I used the same name as my teacher of Meishinkan. We were called the Meishinkan Australian dojo, and I started with one student. And of course I only had a first dan. I probably wasn't very good at the time, but my teacher had faith in me, and I came back to Japan 2 or 3 times a year and trained fairly, concentrated in spells with him when I came back. And sure enough, in 1997 he did come. But I found this out much later, I didn't know at the time, that before he came he had an operation for his liver cancer. But the operation was a very serious one, so serious that he was told by the doctors that he probably wouldn't survive the operation. But he said that if he didn't have the operation, that he couldn't come to Australia. So much he wanted to come that he decided to have an operation. So he had his operation and he came to Australia. He survived the operation and he came to Australia. And he saw my 50 students in Australia and he cried. He was so happy to see. I was graded at 5th Dan at the time, which I think was probably earlier than I probably should have received it. But the reason why, I believe, was that Kimura Sensei knew that he was dying and he knew that he couldn't survive much longer. And I think he probably gave me my 5th Dan at that stage so that we could have a strong foundation in Australia that would be recognised by different organisations. After I reached my 5th Dan, I worked very, very hard. I trained all the time. The dojo in Australia, we trained 6 days a week. So we were really, really training hard. I saw Kimura Kanto again in 1998. And I was graded by the Federation in 1998, which again I felt was quite early. But he forced it through because he was so ill. He died in January 1999. So I was a young, inexperienced, very enthusiastic but inexperienced 6th Dan at that time. And I felt lost without my teacher. What happened, unfortunately, to the Meishinkan dojo in Japan is what often happens when a great leader passes away, and that is the Meishinkan dojo in Japan fell apart. It broke up into several sections. Many people just quit, other people fought with each other, and the shadow of Meishinkan that I loved so much I couldn't see anymore. And two main organizations decided to fight with each other to say, "We're Meishinkan." And he said, "No, we're Meishinkan." And as they were fighting with each other, I thought, actually, I don't think either is Meishinkan anymore. So at that time, I changed the name of the dojo in Australia. I changed the name to Seishinkan. Why did I choose Seishinkan instead of Meishinkan? The kanji for Meishinkan, the me for Meishinkan means clear or bright. Shin means spirit or kokoro or heart, and kan is the dojo. I think that was such a perfect name for Kimura Sensei. But after his passing and after I saw the name being used in ways that I didn't like, I decided to use the word se at the beginning. The kanji se means pure. And I used this name because I wanted to purely follow Kimura Sensei's iai. So the name Seishinkan on purpose is close to the name of Meishinkan, but it comes from the idea of I purely want to follow Kimura Sensei's iaido. So in 1999 we changed our name to Seishinkan.
En 2001, Glenn Stockwell quitte l'Australie pour vivre à Kyoto. En 2005, il accepte le poste de professeur à l'université de Waseda et s'installe définitivement à Tokyo. Il ouvre alors son premier dojo de Seishinkan iaido au Japon. Son dojo se situe dans la banlieue de Mitaka avant d'être transféré en 2007 au Genkikan de Shinjuku.
I feel in many ways it's an honor that my students are willing to learn under a non-Japanese teacher. I feel pressure, I must admit. I feel that if Japanese teachers perform this much, that I feel I should teach this much. So whatever I do, I feel I should do it twice as well as Japanese teachers.
En plus d'être Kansho et professeur à l'université de Waseda, Glenn Stockwell est également un scientifique renommé pour ses recherches et ses ouvrages sur l'application de systèmes linguistiques assistés par ordinateur.
Okay, this is my iaito that I use for my regular training. As I said, it's not a shinken, so it's not a sharp blade. I had this one made to suit my specifications. The tsuka this side I have had bound in silk rather than cotton. The tsuba, in this case, this is from Kamakura Jidai. So if you can see, this is around 800 years old. And I've been using this, as I mentioned before, for about 20 years or so. The saya, a little dusty, is hand painted, and on the bottom I have my sensei's kamon hand painted onto this. The inside blade is just a normal iaito of relative weight.